Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy who's going to share his story about his now ex-girlfriend, and how he, most certainly like many guys before him, ignored a whole lot of red flags that were right there in front of him, but yet stayed with her. And I'm doing this, guys, like I said, just like many before, just to give examples of why it's so important. You got to pay attention to the red flags and walk away when there are too many of them. Or quite frankly, if there are any at all. Okay? And you're going to see here, guys, that it isn't just also about her. It's also with her family. And a lot of the BS that he endures. Fortunately, this guy, situations do occur, which you'll see, and he's able to dodge a major big one. But not after dealing with a lot of BS. So I'm going to go through this guy's story here, and you'll see a little bit more what I'm talking about. Definitely important. Every so often, guys, I'll do one of these dodge a major bullet type of stories here, and the red flags, etc., to help you guys out. So he starts out saying, good afternoon, SSM. About a month or two ago, I came across your channel and have watched a ton of your videos. You give great advice that I wish I'd had years ago. I started watching RP YouTube channels about a year and a half ago, and all your channels have really helped and helped me get my act together and not put up with BS. So I just want to thank you for all you do. You're welcome, bro. I'm glad I can help you out, and I thank you for your support. He says, I grew up being taught to always, listen to this, always do my best to take care of my girlfriend and possibly future wife. This has caused me so many problems and drama throughout my life, and I've learned to take care of myself first. I'm always kind to everyone, but I've learned to set and enforce boundaries thanks to channels like your own. So let's go back to that again, the beginning of that paragraph. It says, I grew up being taught to always do my best to take care of my girlfriend and possible wife, and it caused me all sorts of problems and drama. Now, where were you taught this? Your mom and your dad, the women in your family, sitcoms, movies, radio, TV. It's in our culture to make the guys be the nice guy and put her on the pedestal and treat her like the queen. Make her be the end-all be-all of his existence. The sun rises and sets with his girl, and she'll treat you so well and kind and blah, blah, blah. And yet, when you do that, right here he says, all sorts of problems and drama. So I tell you guys, you have to do the opposite of what's being taught. And it doesn't mean being this horrible jerk. It's just simply putting yourself first. And you always check them on the BS. That's really what it boils down to. Value yourself. Love yourself first, etc., etc. And, of course, watch out for the red flags. But I'm glad you've learned, bro. Always got to set boundaries. Okay. Nearly 2 years ago, I was living in California for roughly 2 years of military training and dating a girl whom I absolutely adored. I could tell that she had some mental and emotional trauma from her past, but she never took it out of me, so I did my best to be supportive and loving. Mental and emotional trauma from her past. That means sooner or later, that mental and emotional trauma will be in your present, okay? Or at that time, eventually in your future. Guys, the white knight shit's got to stop, because it's going to happen. And so many guys, I'm going to be her hero. I'm going to be her savior. I'm going to rescue her from her past problems. Yeah, until that past problems become your present problems. No. Major red flag. Let her be somebody else's issues. If you're going to do relationships, get a girl that has her shit together, and at which you spend much time getting to know her and what she's like before you even become exclusive, and then years and years and years if you're going to take it beyond anything like that. She was adopted as a young child, and even though her adoptive family was better than her drug-addicted biological mom, they were still trash for how they treated her. Now, what happens, guys, when you have someone that their whole life has been treated like garbage by their so-called loved ones? They grew up thinking they are garbage, and they attract people in their lives that reinforce their views about themselves. So you have girls growing up that think they're garbage. They tend to date guys that treat them like garbage. And then when nice guys come around and treat them well, they think those guys are crazy because they think they're garbage, and they end up mistreating those guys and dumping them for the pieces of garbage that treat them badly. How many stories have gone like that? So, if mental and emotional trauma from her past and her family is trash and how they treat her, guess what? She's going to look down on you for treating her well. And watch how my prediction here comes true. At one point, I met her parents and brother at their house, and we all had dinner. I thought that everything went well, but the following day my ex-girlfriend told me that her father was offended because I didn't eat enough food. Okay. He says, keep in mind that I'm 6'1", 215-pound physically fit man with a decent appetite. We then went to her sister's house, and her sister proceeded to call me out on it too. She told me in a fairly aggressive tone that her dad is Mexican, and that in their culture it is rude to not eat a decent amount of food that they prepare for you. The sister and their dad were both extremely obese at the time, so in my mind I was thinking, WTF, do they want me to be obese like them? Well, probably, misery likes company, but why would you listen to what her fat-ass sister has to say about you not eating enough? You're 6'1", 215. I can imagine you have quite an appetite. So, I think they were just looking for a reason to give you shit. That's probably what was going on. But when I actually responded with that I would try to be more respectful of their culture in the future and eat more, I was just a white boy from Ohio, and that wasn't my culture. Immediately after I said that, her sister got pissed off and implied that I was racist. And he says in parentheses, this happened during the George Floyd riots, so they were extra sensitive apparently. This upset me, and I immediately put her sister in her place with a stern voice and told her that I wasn't going to put up with any of this. I then stood up and told my ex-girlfriend that we were leaving. Good for you. Don't tolerate any shit. So the girlfriend's got some red flags about her past, and now you see her family, how they treat you. This is a sign to get out. The second she would have told me, or things demonstrated to me that she has mental and emotional trauma from her past, I would have been gone. Don't need it. And by the way, guys, he included some pictures of her, and obviously a text exchange with some stuff that's going to happen later in the story. And she's a pretty girl, okay? But guess what? There are plenty of pretty girls out there, and certainly not ones that have a family that treat you like this in your first meeting with them. And also, in terms of also the red flags about the past, there's other girls. But good for you for leaving. He says, this whole situation pissed me off because her dad was of Mexican heritage, but he was born in California, and they were multimillionaires who even at one point owned 2 homes in expensive areas. I had been in a relationship prior to this one with a girl whose parents actually were immigrants from Central America, and they never treated me like this. They were always very respectful and asked if I was full, but never expected me to eat if I didn't want to anymore. A couple weeks later, my ex booked a photo shoot for us on the beach, which a girl has never done before. So I assumed that she must have really liked me if she was paying money to have professional pictures taken of us. Looking back, I think she was probably doing this in order to make her ex-boyfriend jealous due to what happened next. Less than 2 weeks after the photo shoot, she randomly broke up with me over text one evening. Broke up with you over text? That's really kind and loving. Very thoughtful. The next morning, she asked me if I'd be willing to meet her, so she drove over and I got in her car. But I was just looking straight forward and didn't say anything because I was so hurt. She spent several minutes convincing me that she wanted to be with me and that she made a mistake by breaking up with me. Well, I'd say the first thing you can do is apologize for breaking up with me by text. And you know what? After that shit, as much as you were hurting, I wouldn't have taken her back so quickly. I said, no, you're not going to do this roller coaster shit with me. Not that you should have been with her, but you get my point. She spent several minutes trying to convince me that she wanted to be with me and that she made a mistake by breaking up with me. So I let my guard down and she took me to get breakfast. Everything seemed great again, but just about 2 to 3 hours after she dropped me back off on the base, she sent me another text breaking up with me again. Is she off her freaking meds? I mean, but this sounds like a lot of freaking manipulation to me. How much can I mess with this guy to have him wrapped around my little finger, toy with his emotions? Having a girl whom you absolutely love break up with you twice within 24 hours is devastating, but it only gets worse. Remember those red flags you saw about her in the beginning, about the mental and emotional trauma? Remember I told you that her past will become your present? What did I say about that? Here we go. Here we go, the roller coaster drama that her past becomes your present. This is what happens to white knights that want to be the hero. I found out the very next day she flew from California to Virginia and proposed to her supposedly physically and emotionally abusive ex-boyfriend. She broke up with you twice in one day. First she broke up with you by text, then you hung out and she said she's so sorry, broke up with you again, then she got on a plane and proposed to her ex-boyfriend. Yeah, she's sane. They were both in the Navy while were stationed in Virginia. 2 weeks later, her fiance tried to call me on Instagram, but it didn't notify me since we didn't follow each other. He then sent a message saying, "Stop being a bitch and talk to me like a man." When I finally saw this message, I screenshot it and sent it to her and said, "Apparently this is the kind of man you want." She apologized for his actions and told me I was perfect and she didn't deserve me and that she didn't deserve better than him. Sometimes you just have to believe what women say because she's definitely telling the truth there. Remember in the beginning what I mentioned, guys, about how if you have someone that was raised to believe that they're pretty much nothing, and hence her family, he said that they were garbage and treated her badly. She was raised to think that she wasn't worth anything. So her ex-boyfriend, as he described, was emotionally abusive and everything like that. And now you, the guy who wrote in, treated her well. Eventually, to people like that, they think, "Oh my God, what's wrong with this guy? He's treating me well. I think I'm garbage. Everybody around me says I'm garbage. So I'm going to treat him like crap, break up with him, and go back to the guy that treats me like garbage because that's how I feel about myself." So no matter white knighting can fix her. But all these nice guys think they can fix these damaged gals. Just like a lot of these gals think they can fix damaged guys. They group in situations like that. It doesn't work. Right here. She's essentially saying, "You're too good for me." And she's right. You are too good for her. A week later, she texted me again and told me that she might be pregnant and that it had to be mine if she was. Oh, hell no. That's your ex's kid, not my kid. When I was with her, we had always used condoms, so I immediately knew she was lying. She denied having sex with him even though they had been in a relationship before, and she obviously wasn't waiting until marriage. I just thought there was no way that you proposed to an ex which you had S-word relations with before and not have sex with him after the proposal. Thankfully, she wasn't pregnant. I think she caused herself so much stress for herself that she missed her period. Or she was just lying and trying to manipulate me further. Could have been either one. She's obviously proven that one that likes to manipulate. Roughly a week after the incident, she broke up with her fiancé because he found out that he had impregnated a girl whom he'd been sleeping with before she proposed to him. That's what Chad and Tyrone do. Although I feel sorry for her crappy childhood, she continues to make terrible decisions which destroys her life. Not your problem. I cannot afford to take care of people like this anymore, and I've learned to avoid women like this like the plague. When I was researching how she behaved, I found out that she showed about a 90% of the possible traits of borderline personality disorder. Well, try more like borderline bitch disorder. That's what she's got going, dude. Fellow men, avoid borderlines at all costs. It's not worth it. I'm currently happily single, but have a decent amount of women I'm casually dating. Whenever one causes any drama, I could drop them immediately and spend my time with those who don't cause any. Good for you. I want to be monogamous and have a traditional family, but the current state of society rarely permits that to happen. Attached for reference are screenshots of what her fiancé sent to me on Instagram, a message she had sent to a friend on Instagram, her proposing to your fiancé at the airport, and a couple more random photos. Thank you, SSM, for everything you do. I appreciate it all. You're welcome, sir, and I'm glad she's out of your freaking life. And I'm telling you right now, if she hasn't already, she's going to be contacting you in the future to give her a second chance. And don't you do it. You do not need this trauma and this drama into your life. But I told you in the beginning, guys, this is just for him. This is for any of the other guys that want to be the hero and white knight. If she's got a past with a lot of turmoil and drama, that's going to become your present sooner or later. Mark my words. So don't try to be the hero. Don't be the white knight. And if you think you can fix the girl that comes from a bad background and who was raised to feel like she's worthless, the odds are great that no matter how good you are to her, she's going to keep thinking she's worthless and will actually lose respect for you for treating her good because she's thinking you're crazy because she's garbage. And will seek out guys that reinforce the views about herself. This is why so many girls go for bad boys that treat them like garbage, because those bad boys reinforce their views of themselves, whether they're accurate or not. And the same thing goes with guys who end up with girls that try to treat them well and fix these damaged guys, and they can't do it. But absolutely, man. So there you go. Perfect example, guys. You see the red flags, bail. Her past, her family, all that stuff, you know. And that roller coaster, breaking up with you twice in one day by text, to my dad, then going proposing to some dude. Just that's what the relationship would be with her like. So no, you're done with her, out of your life completely. Block her. Have nothing to do with her. But use this experience as a good learning experience. I'm sorry you went through this. Obviously, you were hurt. You know, we're all human here, but if you could learn something out of this and your story can help other dudes out there, there was a silver lining. There's always a silver lining, guys, if you really look hard, okay? And something to learn from things. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Guys, if you ever had an experience dating or being in a relationship with a gal like this, share it. Let's hear your story. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.